welcome to this episode of Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am one of your hosts today, Ryan Doze, and Will's here. Will Rose is back for our special Christmas morning edition of the episode, Will. It's
I know people got up this morning super early,
hot cocoa,
downloaded. They didn't go look at presents. They didn't open it. They went right to their podcast feeds and downloaded us and said before we could do like Christmas breakfast or open presents or stockings, we're gonna listen to this podcast because it's important to our fans.
So, listeners, I did throw out that idea to Will, and he's like, "You really think people?" I was like, "I'm not saying they'll listen to it right away, but it's more like a gesture." And he's like, "Okay, man, whatever." But we're really-
and Hanukkah starts on the same day as Christmas, so there's 12 days, officially 12 days of Christmas and 8 days of Hanukkah. So you have like time to listen to this episode. You're not, on the 12th day of Christmas, this could be a 12th day of Christmas listen. It could be an 8th day of Hanukkah listen. Either one. We're proud of you for just listening.
For this special, for this gift to you guys, we have a special guest. Daniel Kibblesmith is here to talk about a comic that he not just wrote, but it just came out with Marvel in the Marvel Holiday Tales to Astonish. Daniel, we're so excited to have you, man.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, very excited to talk about this stuff. I also love holiday comics and holiday media in general. The evidence is really piling up, actually. I'm starting to have kind of a reputation.
So I am also a fan of like when Marvel or DC or like the big publishers will put out these I don't know what the technical industry term would be, but it's like a compilation anthology of different like little holiday stories. Why you just said you love those things. Why do you specifically love comics like this?
Well, one of my first comics, I started reading comics when I was 7, 8 years old, pretty common age, and then getting into them a lot more seriously when I was maybe 10 or 11 in our local shop, and it's still there. I was just home for Thanksgiving, another holiday. Our local shop was called One Stop Comics in Oak Park. Shout outs to Rick. And I would go there with my dad, and one of the first things I picked up was a back issue bin of the Marvel holiday special with the Art Adams Santa Claus on the front. And contains the story where a blind child mistakes Ghost Rider for Santa Claus because he's wearing big boots, and he rattles a chain, and the kid thinks it sounds like Jingle Bells. It's really good. It's pretty fantastic. I'm actually going to see, because I didn't know we were going to talk about this specifically. I'm going to see if I can pick it up real quick. It's the Marvel Holiday Special 1991. That's
like one of the first ones, isn't it?
It's my first one for sure.
Yeah.
It's got the Art Adams cover where the whole Marvel universe is chasing Santa Claus for some reason. And it's just a blast. And I think a lot about like how people get into comics, especially when they're really young. And for me, like video games was one of my big ins. Okay. The X-Men arcade game got me so excited about like, who are these characters? I want to know more about them. And nowadays, like cartoons and the MCU obviously get people into comics. And I think that one of the things I like about the holiday anthologies, and one of the things that was so effective about that holiday anthology for me, was just like I already knew who Santa Claus was and like the cultural sort of vibe of the holidays. And it was a little more like funny and lighthearted and accessible, and less of like, like an action story or a violent story for like a little kid, who isn't totally sure that they're ready for, bone claws yet or whatever,
flaming skulls and motorcycles.
Yeah. So, right. So if you're a little kid who's never read a Ghost Rider comic and maybe you're not ready for a flaming skull, you can pick up a Christmas comic and be like, oh, this is fun. This is accessible. I actually do love flaming skulls. I'm going to be thinking about Ghost Rider every day for the rest of my life. So that was the first holiday comic, that was my introduction to like the concept of a holiday special. And I was an 80s and 90s kid. So I watched every cartoon, every sitcom,
right?
And Christmas episodes are like such a like beyond a trope, like almost like a mandatory like component of the DNA of like
Gotta
80s and
have 'em.
90s television. And to this day, obviously, but especially at that time. So yeah, the idea that was like I can get a Christmas special that is also a Marvel comic book, and all the stories are beginning, middle, and end, and I don't need to know like a bunch of continuity. It's great,
Or
great, especially
Santa
for
is
younger
in
readers.
continuity. Santa is in
Santa
continuity. The Marvel Universe
In the
616
six, oh,
Santa exists and is a
repeatedly.
hero or villain. We don't know. There's probably some misunderstanding we have to clear up by the end of the comic.
There's stories where they
But
talk
yeah,
about him being a mutant. Yeah, Santa in 616, and he's in this one as well.
yeah,
He's not in my story, but he's in this special because my
yeah,
story is a Hanukkah story.
yeah.
So I,
Love
I
it.
I have to ask because you were talking about like oh I love that when sitcoms or cartoons would do these specials, and when this book I think it was either you on social media or in Jerry Duggan's Substacks was the first rumblings I heard. I was like, holy shit, they're bringing back like an anthology a comic for Christmas because these books feel kind of like scattered, like hit and miss. Like one year we'll do it, one year we won't. But I absolutely love the idea of this book. How did this book come to your desk? Like the idea of like, hey, we want to do this story, or did you get to kind of play around with what you wanted to do or who you wanted to write?
Yeah, a little bit. This story was brought to me very loosely by the editor Darren Shan, and I'd worked in the past with, I mean, a lot of Marvel editors at this point, but one person I've worked with a lot is Will Moss, and
Love Will
Darren,
Wilson.
yeah, he's great, and he has his hands on, you can see his fingerprints on like so many great comics over the years, and just if you like anything that I've written, you like Will as an editor, basically. But the story that Darren told me was that they were putting together a holiday anthology. They thought it'd be really fun to have a Kitty Pryde Hanukkah story. There's a handful of Jewish Marvel heroes. The Thing has had a great, probably the most, I think, like Jewish representation stories in the Marvel universe. And this time around, they were like, let's do a Hanukkah story about Kitty Pryde. So Darren apparently went to Will and said, hey, I'm looking for a Jewish writer who loves Kitty Pryde. And Will said, that's Daniel Kibblesmith.
Didn't
Because,
even hesitate.
well, I told you a minute ago that I got into comic books partially through the X-Men arcade game, which means my favorite character then and now is Nightcrawler. I asked my dad who, he's not like Superman. He's not like Batman and Wonder Woman. He's weirder even than Spider-Man. Who is Nightcrawler? And my dad said, well, I have a comic at home called Excalibur #1. It just came out a couple of years ago. You should read it. And I just fell in love with Excalibur and with Kitty Pryde and with Alan Davis and everything about those characters and that setting and that vibe became so important to me. And Excalibur was like Excalibur and Amazing Spider-Man were my subscription titles. Those were the ones that I got
Hmm.
delivered straight to my house. So Kitty Pryde, and then the other thing that got me really into comics was my dad's uh, back issues of the classic X-Men reprints,
Oh, nice.
which are very much like a Dark Phoenix anchored run of reprinted and retold content. I think there's some new stuff in there. I've never been totally clear on what classic X-Men is, but I know it has the Dark Phoenix saga in it. So that was all, that was Claremont and Byrne, and all these characters that I loved so much. And then when the X-Men animated series started in the 90s, I obviously loved it, but my first question was, where's Nightcrawler? And my second
Good
question was,
question.
where's Kitty Pryde? That's very much the sort of Claremont era that shaped me as an X-Men fan. So it was Darren's idea to do a Kitty Pryde X-Men story, and Will pointed him in my direction. And from there, it was a conversation about like, are we doing something that's more of like a Marvel Voices, where it's about the sort of culture and
Hmm.
philosophy of this? Are we doing more of like a
Okay.
lighthearted holiday story? Because you can take it in a lot of different directions. And I think we'd finally settled on an idea. I had pitched him an idea. It was going to happen. The phone call was over. And then I said, however, we are doing, at the time it was 8 pages. I said, we are doing 8 pages. So we could do, it'd be hard, but we could do a story where every page is a different night of Hanukkah. And it's just like every page is like this action-packed, single-page story adventure that takes us through the Claremont Byrne era. And it'll be really hard to structure, and we're all going to hate ourselves for me saying this out loud. And then Darren was like, "That's it. That's what we're doing." So, so thankfully, it became 10 pages. So we have a little bit of like
I just had to double check.
Epilogue. Yeah, we have a little bit. We have a little bit of ramp up and a little bit of epilogue. But so that's, if you haven't read it yet, that's the story that we ended up writing. This is a story about Kitty Pryde's first Hanukkah at the mansion, which is canonical and is in, I believe, issue Uncanny X-Men 143, which we specifically flash back to. And then every page is a different kind of like between the cracks of continuity adventure that supposedly happened to Kitty during her first Hanukkah with the team, where she's trying to shop for presents, but there's always a new villain, there's always a new menace, there's always a new mission, and she just has no time to prepare for her first Hanukkah with her newfound family.
Was this the first time you've written Nightcrawler? Have you written some other X books as well, or is this your first time? No, this is your first X book.
Yeah, first time writing the vast majority of the characters in this. It's my first time writing them. I've written Wolverine a little bit on Loki. We do issue 5 of Loki. Our last issue of that run is a flashback story that has a young Wolverine in it. So the characterization is a little different. I don't even really count it. For my purposes, this is my first time writing Kitty, first time writing Nightcrawler, first time writing any of the X-Men. And it's crazy. I mean, I wasn't even really thinking about it when I was doing it, because I think I didn't want it to become too real, want to get overwhelmed by the sort of the excitement or the pressure or the honor of what you're doing. But that being said, I do think that you have a responsibility to make the characters sound like themselves, and create something that's true to what the audience is expecting, especially when you're invoking particular writers in a particular era. So this whole thing is just a love song to Claremont and Byrne. I mean, it has thought balloons, it has intrusive narrators. If you like Chris Claremont comics, you are going to read this and also know that I like Chris Claremont comics.
Well, I think you nail the voice. Like, you nail it. But I love the way that you squeezed in. You're like, all right, I'm going to do a Kitty Pryde story, Hanukkah, but I'm going to find a way to get every single favorite X-Men character and storyline for the last 4 decades into this book. And you do it because I'm a kid of the early 80s. Those were my first comics. The Uncanny books, started at like 150 and moving up. But going back and reading the back issues and knowing the Dark Phoenix saga and Kitty, and love her and Peter so much, the way it's nostalgic, but also like you share a different angle to the story that people would know. So my question is like, so with this story, did you pick these scenarios, these 8 days, and did the editor say you got to stay away from Magneto, or you're like, nope, I got to put Savage Land in there, or like were these some of your favorite things, or was it something that the editorial team like, we need a little bit more Doom's popular right now, we need a Doombot in there, or is that just you like, nope, I got a story, I want to walk through this kind of outline of a day in the life of the X-Men, or 8 days in the life of X-Men?
Right. Probably not surprising. It was back and forth. I picked everything. Okay. I knew that these are the things that I associate with that era that I want to hit. I want to see the Hellfire Club. I want to see the Savage Land. I want to see Doctor Doom and Storm. These were things that I associated with that era of X-Men and that made me fall in love with X-Men. The tricky part was figuring out how to fit it into continuity, where there were things where I would misremember what order certain things had happened in. So I think the only like really significant note we got was from Tom Brevoort, who is like a walking encyclopedia, obviously,
For real.
of all this stuff. And the note we got from him was like, "Oh, they haven't met the brood yet," and that was it. It wasn't like nobody's, you're not in trouble. Nobody's mad at you. Nobody thinks you're trying to, to rock the boat or fudge anything. It was more, we treat it like it's history. We treat it like it really happened. And that's when you're operating on that editorial level. I think that's just how your brain works, is like, this is real and it's important and it has its own integrity. So they haven't met the brood yet. So just don't do that. But everything else.
You answered your question, Ryan, about whether this monster is a brood or just a demon.
I can tell you what it is.
Please do, because I know the cover of Uncanny 143 because it's kind of an iconic, Kitty Pryde cover. But get out of here, cat.
Brood.
But I love a cameo, folks.
I always I assumed it was a member of the brood species, but what is it, Daniel?
I was confused about that growing up too. So that's an I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's an Ngari demon or a Nagari demon.
Okay.
So in a previous adventure, these are demons that the X-Men fought, but one of them got away. So it's sort of like, I think it senses the X-Mansion in the story. I'm trying to remember how it gets back there, but it's like, it's sniffing them out like a hound, and it's preying on them. So this is a brood-like monster that's making its way from a previous story, that's making its way to the X-Mansion. You're totally right. The cover is completely iconic. And at first I was like, I can't do that because it'll break the whole thing if I try to merge it with this other famous story. But I went back and read the story, and that story is Kitty's first Hanukkah with the X-Men. So I think to not fit it in would be like a little bit disingenuous. It would be like pretending it didn't happen and kind of defeat the whole purpose of what we were doing and of what Tom was helping us do, which is to like get this in continuity. It's just it's a brood-like demon who comes down the chimney, and that's where the very famous Kitty Pryde with the mistletoe, Merry Christmas, sexy, kissing Colossus on the cheek. It's all been called back to a number of times, called back to an Astonishing X-Men as well. Which is another one of my favorite X-Men runs, and a big inspiration to me. So yes, that is, and I think that's the other reason that the editors suggested not using the brood, not just because we're really trying to honor the continuity, but because the designs of the monsters are so similar that
for real,
it's kind of like, well, if you could do Sauron instead, then you can get like another awesome classic villain in there, some other imagery in there. So there was some restructuring and some back and forth based on continuity, and just making sure that every mini story, every day of the Hanukkah story felt like it had its own really distinct energy.
And that monster also, think about the time, the early 80s, like what's hot right now or then was with the Alien franchise. They were like, we're going to get an alien on the Alien franchise on the cover. So, Chris Claremont was
the
like,
brood are essentially xenomorphs, right? Like,
they're basically brood as xenomorphs. But then, here, this monster is very similar too. So like, catch your eye. Oh, is that an alien? What's going on? It's popular. But yeah, any way to lure people to read their stories, I think is great. And
now that the Avengers are fighting the actual xenomorphs, I feel a little safer saying like, the brood are pretty similar to the xenomorphs. That's maybe, as an employee of Marvel Comics, not something I would have said out loud a few years ago, but now it's like, hey, we can all kind of admit, right? Those are like pretty similar.
I do remember when just quick like side, because you brought it up, like when that announcement got dropped, it was like, oh, by the way, the Avengers are taking on the aliens. I'm like, what the heck are the 90s like here and back? Because the Predator's been taking on, Wolverine. He took on Black Panther. It just got released a few weeks ago. Like he's taking on Spider-Man next year. It's like, good grief. I love this.
Bury me in that stuff. I love that stuff.
A good crossover is hard to beat.
They're so good. And you know what? The other thing I'll say about crossovers, they're also jumping on points. They're also self-contained stories. The fact that you
True.
can read, a Wolverine versus Predator, and you don't need to have been reading the Wolverine title all this time. I think that's another, counterintuitively, because I'm doing like a Hanukkah story that does not have the Predator in it. But I do think that when you make these comics that have like a stunt associated with them, I'm all for that stuff because I think it gets the
Yeah.
attention of people who don't go to the shop that often.
Yeah.
So, Will, have you read Wolverine versus Predator?
No.
Oh my gosh. Just go do it. It's
Okay. All right.
And
On
I
the
would
list.
add Aliens Avengers too, which is just like the title of the year for me. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
it's
I love that
but
one. I'm picking up that one.
it's Assad Ribic art the
Hmm.
entire time. Like, it's is Jonathan Hickman writing it?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's the Secret Wars team. The
Oh
boys
my
are back in
gosh. It's
town.
just like, okay, fine. I guess I'll read it. But it's a fantastic book. And I think it's only coming out every other month. So it's
It
kind
comes
of
out
like
every 7 years, but it's worth the wait.
the
I
the art
heard.
is worth it. The art
I
is worth it.
pre-ordered digitally all of it. Yeah, it's so good.
Oh my gosh, it is fantastic. But Daniel, in this story, you mentioned it a few times. You cut from these, this scene, this classic villain, this adventure. Did you have a favorite scene to kind of bring to life on one page? Because it is a daunting task. One page. Was there one that you were like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to do that? And I guess on the flip side, one where you're like, how am I going to condense this into one page?
Yes, I did absolutely have those experiences. Because you're totally right about the sort of constraints of that exercise. I mean, one of the things I love writing about comics is that, like, on one hand, it's nothing but boundaries, and then on the other hand, it's nothing but possibilities.
Yeah.
You can have like a really rigid 9 panel grid, or you can have like this crazy double page, flowing spread where it looks like they're in the board game Candyland. Like, I've worked with so many artists who just trust their own instincts. And I write pretty comprehensive scripts, but I always say at the top, like, this part is your job. Like, I'm not going to constrain you. I'm not going to overcorrect you. If there's a visual presentation here that, you think is going to make this really sing, these are a visual medium. So the one I was most looking forward to was the arcade one,
Oh,
because
okay.
the arcade cameo, without spoiling too much, it's after the fights. The arcade page is an aftermath page,
Okay.
and classic, like, I work in comedy a lot. This is very much the way that, like, jokes in comic books are often structured. I get to do a photo booth sequence where it's just, same angle, same angle, same angle, and those are really fun to write. They're really fun to see them come in. So I was most excited about that one. I love Arcade, obviously. I mean, he's just such a fun and funny
He's
character.
so goofy.
So I got to do a really funny photo booth sequence in the arcade page, and then the one where I didn't think I'd be able to fit everything was, I think, the first one where they're fighting on the blue area of the moon
Oh, with Sentinels. Yeah.
with Sentinels. Yeah, and there was also some back and forth about who those villains were going to be. I think that was going to be the Brood at some points.
Oh,
So that one was tough because it's a lot of action. It's a huge amount of characters on page, and we haven't yet talked about the arts team, but Pat Olive from
yeah.
Untold Tales of Spider-Man
Yeah.
doing the pencil. So it's a huge amount of characters on page, and it also has to establish the game, because all of the pages that are to come are a one-page, Untold Tale of Kitty Pryde, essentially. So that one was tough because there was a lot of action to convey, a lot of information to convey, and it also had to establish, like, oh well, what are we doing here? Like, what is the novel structure of this story that we're committing to? And then every page also has the insets at the bottom of the Hanukkah candles being
Yeah. Love
lit
it.
one by one. So I think once that is established, people are like, oh, this is fun. I understand how to
Yeah.
participate in this.
I totally makes sense that the first one you're setting the conceit of the whole story, and then like from there it can kind of snowball. and people can pick it up and like, okay, I get what we're doing here. You mentioned Pat Olive, the artist that worked with you on this. Also, he did quite a few Thor comics back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun little connection there.
Very cool.
Always pick up on those kind of things when we can. Again, without giving away too much, because people should go pick this up. This is like, not only is your story a lot of fun, I think it's fair to say the other two stories are a lot of fun as well. This whole comic, just cover to cover, is just a fantastic. It's just a fantastic read. And this, I know, people are going to be unwrapping presents and they're going to be doing gifts and family things and all that. But like, if this was under my tree Christmas morning, I would be like, well, okay, like 15-minute pause. Let's just, I guess soak this in.
Yep.
I gotta soak this
Yep.
up.
Just the top of it sticking out of the stocking, just sticking out like right there, and you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep telling people, roll them up.
A comic?
Roll them up, put them in the stocking. If you need one that's bagged and boarded, buy two, but roll them up and put them in the stocking. Because look, I collect comics. I take care of my comics, but is my issue of the death of Superman going to put my daughter through college? I don't really think so at this point. If you want to roll up a comic and put it in a stocking, you can. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, but without giving away the spoilers, Will, I guess I'll just ask you, what was your favorite part of the story?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up a huge Colossus fan, and
I was wondering when he was going to come up.
His relationship with Kitty and Nightcrawler, that whole gang is just my favorite team to put together. But opening scene, you have Colossus throwing a big moon rock at a Sentinel. It's like, okay, I'm there, I'm cool.
And that's all Pat. I think that's off script. I think that's all Pat.
But the way that, like, yeah, again, spoilers, but again, it's great. Like, you have this transformation that happens, which the holiday season should hopefully bring you, is a transformation within. You have a bah humbug Wolverine, and then a transformation towards the end. But the fact that Kirk calls him the Grinch of Scrooges, I think is just doubled up. If he's not just a Scrooge, he's not just a Grinch. He's the Grinch of the Scrooges.
Yeah,
it was just fantastic and loved it. And so to see where that was going, knowing that was going to be picked up later on, I've read plenty of comics where the Bah Humbug character in a Christmas story or a Hanukkah story or a holiday story is hopefully going to have a transformation by the time you get to the end of the stories, and it was not disappointed, so it's good.
Yeah, well, that's what I love. I mean, I love writing holiday comics and holiday stories, and it's a place where you can really embrace tropes, I think, where they become certainly a feature and not a bug. They come with so much built-in structure that you get to take advantage of. Superheroes are already a genre, and then superhero holiday, you get like such a potent sort of genre cocktail that you can kind of dial as intense as you want. And I go all in. He's sitting by the fireplace moping. He gets a present. I won't say what it is. I will say that there is a Easter egg. The punchline of this story is an Easter egg that nobody has talked to me about yet.
Huh.
So if anybody, I'm not going to say what it is, but I've given a lot of clues on this podcast. What Wolverine says to Kitty at the very, very end of the story is an Easter egg. So find me on social if you know what I'm referencing there.
Nice.
Okay, because man, I will say you got me stumped. Because
it's not. Here's what I'll say: it's not a Claremont Byrne thing. It's another X continuity thing.
Okay, fantastic. I love that. I was gonna say, Will, the what Daniel just mentioned there, the gift that Kitty ends up giving Logan at the end, that was my favorite part. How, like, Daniel, how you wrap this?
Can I interrupt just a second? Could it be like another limited series that Kitty's in? Is that the Easter egg?
Are you hunting for clues?
I am.
That's a really good guess. It is not.
Okay. All right.
Not. It's something else from the X universe.
Okay. I'll keep
Okay.
hunting. And now that I'm following on Instagram, I'll probably bug you with some.
No, please do, please do. Here's the problem: it's not a very helpful clue. It's not a very helpful clue because the gift that we're circling around, the thing that Kitty is holding in her hands, it is something that Kitty ends up holding in her hands a lot over the years. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
no, somebody's going to figure it out. Somebody's going to tell us.
Yeah.
I always wonder if I assume writers love doing this, like just leaving little like things in there. If someone picks up on it, awesome. If not, like, at least good to know.
Oh
You
man,
know,
I do.
yeah.
Well, you know what? You guys are a Thor podcast, and I
Yes.
put a lot of Easter eggs in the Loki series because you don't know if you're going to last 5 issues or 50 issues. So
Right.
there's stuff in there that also that nobody's ever noticed or talked to me about. There's
Which
some weird little clues in there for things that hopefully I can still do a version of someday.
which listeners, if you're wondering, are like, I feel like I've seen Daniel's name before. Like, you did do a 5 issue Loki series, I believe a couple of years back now, and we really want to talk about that series at some point. This was just kind of I mean, it's Christmas morning. We got to talk about
It's
the
Christmas
holiday
morning.
comic.
We all agree that it's
Um,
Christmas and Hanukkah morning right now, and that is the time that it is. And
was there any like anything about like putting this story together, being a part of the holiday comics that you already love, like that we haven't talked about that you are that you just feel like listeners might be curious about, might want to know more about from this experience doing this book?
sure. I mean, the thing that I mean, the main thing that I'll say is that if you like this and if you're looking for stuff like this, a few years ago I also co-wrote a Hanukkah comic featuring the Rugrats. We wrote for Boom Studios. We wrote a comic called
Oh,
C's for Hanukkah,
I got a little
and it was a blast. We just wrote it as though it was a Rugrats animated special because their animated Passover special is so famous and beloved. So I guess I would just sort of like say thank you slash sorry that I've become like the holiday comics guy. I love it. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
But no, I've written, I wrote a book called Santa's Husband, which is a funny picture book illustrated by Ashley Quach. About a gay Santa and his similarly bearded husband who stands
That's
in for him.
awesome.
I will be
Couple
getting that.
a couple of years ago, I wrote a book of Christmas and holiday carols about DC Comics characters. So I got to write a version of "Hark the Herald the Angel Sings" that was about Darkseid.
What? This
Yeah,
is
so
amazing.
I love this stuff, man. I love any way that I can because I grew up loving the holidays. I didn't have to go to school. TV specials were cool. Like it's just I'm from somewhere
Magical time.
that snows, yeah, exactly. It's a magical time. It really imprinted on me. And then the other thing that imprinted on me was, comics and superheroes. So the fact that I get to do these wild mashups. And yeah, I have a lot of friends who also have these interests in common. And we talk about it, and we all love Klaus. We all love the Morrison Mora the superhero Santa Claus book
Yes.
because that stuff is just great, man. It's
Yeah.
just great.
So, we normally, and Will and I did not talk about this ahead of time, and we really should have. We always do with creators that are they're gracious enough to come and spend a little bit of time with us. We do something called the Thunder Round, which
I got
was
questions. I got
something
some. I got some right. Don't worry.
Jason Aaron gave us a few years ago, and we're like, well, if it's good enough for him, we're just going to kind of run with it. With
I'm honored. Then I'm honored.
I mean, you're joining some hallowed ranks, and we're gonna it's like a dry cleaners. You put up the picture of the people that have actually
Wait, here's something I'll say on the podcast. I don't think I've ever
Okay.
said this public. I don't think I've ever said this publicly before. When I started working, because comic scripts don't have like a locked format. Some people use Microsoft
Right.
Word, some people use Final Draft. So I had a much more bare bones format, and I was working with Will Moss and Sarah Brunstad at that time. And he very politely said, "You know who has a really good comic script format is Jason Aaron." can I send that to you? And you will just use that format. Just use it as a Google Docs template.
Oh, cool.
So I've never talked to Jason about this. I use his comics template for my scripting now because it's
Wow.
great. It's great. Will was right. It's really, really clear. It's
Jason
very
might be
easy.
listening.
It's
Jason
very
might
easy
be
for the
listening. Yeah.
artists to read. So yeah, Jason, if you're listening, I'm very grateful for this.
I, the only version of that I've seen is I think a few years ago, Marvel released a director's cut of Star Wars #1, and you could like read his notes alongside. I was like, man, this is like, behind the scenes. It's the best thing.
Yeah,
I love
man.
Um,
those.
He's good. It's not surprising. He's really good at his
he's
job.
he's pretty good at this comics thing. Oh my gosh! But Daniel, if you wouldn't mind, we'd love to run you through some Thunder Round questions. These are just quick hitters, and I've sent Will a message. Holiday themed, good for you, Will?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
feels like Daniel's going
I
to be
might
sticking
divert a
around
little
for
bit. There might be a bait and switch in there. I might divert a little bit. We'll see what
that.
happens. We'll see what curiosity. What
I'm on
curiosity.
board.
So I'll go first. There's only five of them. I'll go first. A character that you want to do a holiday comic for that you haven't so far.
Ooh, that's a great question. It would have been Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler. A character I want to do a holiday. Oh, Deadpool.
A
Yeah.
Yeah,
Deadpool
obviously.
Christmas.
Yeah, it's a no. That's a no-brainer. Yeah, obviously I want to do a Deadpool holiday comic.
I can only
Gosh.
imagine how awesome that would
Yeah,
be.
that
Like,
was easy.
Is it in continuity what religion he is or isn't? Because that would be funny if he.
Yeah, I mean, look, Deadpool is, I think, in all things flexible. So,
You're right.
yeah.
so it might be quite a few holidays.
Hey, Will, what do you got? What do you want to ask?
Okay, so you could only watch one holiday movie or show this particular season. What is the one you're going to watch?
Um, I want to be honest about this and say because I did just watch Peanuts, and so I don't want to cheat and say like, oh,
Great
it's
movie.
like a different one. It's Peanuts. Yeah, Peanuts is the one that I can't miss. I watch Wonderful
Mhm.
Life and Miracle on 34th Street most years. But Peanuts is the one that feels closest to like a religious experience. And then the
Yeah.
other one that the honorable mention is I almost always watch the Justice League Unlimited episode Comfort and Joy, where John Jones goes back to Smallville and eats Oreos and pets the kitty, and the Flash and the Ultra Humanites have the sort of Tickle Me Elmo duck that
What's
farts
the
in
name
their
of that?
house.
What's the name of that?
It's just called Comfort and Joy, and it's the Justice League Unlimited
Yeah,
holiday anthology episode.
we're going to do it. Oh, a little Easter egg with the Charlie Brown Christmas. I don't know if you noticed when Linus starts reading the Christmas story, when he starts saying "Do not be afraid," he drops his security blanket on the
I've
floor.
never noticed this
Go back
before.
and watch. There's a
Get out
subtle
of
move where he's
here.
holding his, and when he starts reading, there's a moment where he quotes the angel and he drops his blanket to the floor and keeps.
That's
Oh,
heavy stuff, man. That's heavy stuff.
Isn't that good? I love it
Yeah,
so much.
they
Will's
knew what they were
dropping
doing.
knowledge. Man. So real simple one, Daniel. What is the best holiday, Hanukkah, Christmas gift you've ever received?
Oh, the Nintendo Entertainment System.
No hesitation.
No,
I love how dialed in that is.
yeah, no, I was. I think I was aware of them. My maybe some relatives or friends had them, but they'd been around for a couple of years, and I got mine. I think when I was 7. And there's been a lot of really wonderful. I got a Toy Biz Nightcrawler action figure when they were no longer actively in stores. Back when you had to buy them from a comics shop or a card shop. My bike, was huge. It's life changing to give a
Mhm.
child a bike, but
Yep.
like nothing beat the Nintendo.
Do you have a
Nothing
favorite
beat.
game from back then?
I go back between Super Mario 3 and Mega Man 2.
Oh,
But I
yeah,
play
that's good
both.
stuff.
I play right now both of those. I don't have a gym membership right now. I'm not currently in therapy. I don't go to church every week, but every week I play Super Mario 3 or Mega Man 2 at least one time.
Such Dan, you're my new favorite person.
I don't have a gym membership. I don't go to church
or therapy, but
Therapy.
I can play some Nintendo. And
Nothing
If
an
you're gonna
Italian plumber
be
can't fix.
a person, if you're gonna be a person, you got to have a thing that keeps
Oh
you
my
centered,
gosh.
you're gonna
that
be a human.
keeps you together.
That is great.
That is
Well,
our gift to you on this first day of Hanukkah and the Christmas
Yeah.
day, folks. That's our
Plug it
gift to
in,
you.
folks.
Plug it in.
Nintendo Switch Online. Make it happen.
Quick side story. I remember getting an Atari for the first time, and every year, like we just stay at the house. Grandma would come to us, every Christmas. But the one Christmas that we had to leave like an hour into Christmas morning to go travel to Grandma's house was that particular morning when I got a video game. I was like,
Oh,
"What? I can't
God.
play this. I gotta wait till tomorrow."
the torture.
The one Christmas.
Unreal.
I will
Unreal.
never forget that. They're like, all right, I'm ready to set this video game console up now. No, we're going to Grandma.
Oh, the
What'd you just
one
say to me?
gift I can't bring with me in the car.
Yes. I'm like, what are you talking about? All right. So this is, it's holiday adjacent. Think of it as a gift. If you could have one superpower, one gift, just one superpower, could be any of the X-Men, Justice League, whatever. One superpower. What would it be?
I always say flash. I always say fast, because I'm never going to blow a deadline again. I can read every book in the house. I don't have to, I never have to wait for another Lyft ride. I would do flash for sure.
Metabolism.
Again, no hesitation.
Oh man, yeah, that's right. Eat whatever I want. Oh, buddy. Yeah, I would go because this came up the other day because me and my wife and my daughter we have a little like family table topics cards, like dinner time
Oh, nice.
conversation breakers. So yeah, the superpower one came up the other day.
Wow. Did they just look at you like, oh, sure, okay, fine. The comics guy gets the superpower one.
Yes. They do tend to skew that way whenever I'm driving.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Last one, I can't, it's not like a big culmination question, but it's like, what's your favorite things to eat and drink around the holidays?
Oh, that is a great question. I do like Thanksgiving food. My family, my family kind of does it up right. But the thing I'm really looking forward to, and this is appropriate actually, is that I received as a holiday gift, I received a grill and smoker. So the new tradition is that I'm going to get up early and do a giant pork butt. And that is what I'm currently really looking forward to. Really looking forward. That's very dad Christmas. Is like
The
where is he?
Midwesterner in me is very happy.
Oh, I brought the Midwesterner in me to California. Don't worry.
Yes.
I mean,
Never
there won't be
lose that.
there won't be snow on the ground, but it's gonna feel real good.
I have one more question, Ryan. All right.
Yeah.
So Daniel, is there a comic out there right now that you're reading or into that you're like, man, if you're a comic book fan or you're just comic adjacent, like what would you recommend to folks? You're like, because I'm vibing with all your tastes, every one of them. So like, if you give a recommendation of like a reading recommendation, I'm writing it down.
That's such a great question because I'm usually a little bit behind. But I am slightly caught up on the Ultimate and Absolutes titles.
Okay.
And I think they're all great.
Yeah.
But I vibed in particular with Absolute Wonder Woman. I think also because I have a very young daughter and I bought her a sword on her first birthday. I really not it was made out of foam with a rainbow fabric sewn over it, but
Still badass.
yeah. And on Christmas Day she's getting the shield, so hopefully she opens it before she listens to this. But yeah, I'm really loving Absolute Wonder Woman, and one of my favorite titles of all time is back, and that's Snot Girl with Leslie Hung and Brian Lee O'Malley. So if you like Scott Pilgrim, you'll also enjoy Snot Girl. It's sort of like
okay.
It's so good. It's kind of like a young millennial kind of elder Gen Z sort of like internet, like it's like an extremely online noir, with like stuff about social media and influencers, and the art is just like really cute and really sexy and fun, and I highly recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, wrote it down. Yeah.
Cute, sexy, and fun. Will, on that note,
That's what I was called in middle school.
I will say, oh, it's Will Rose. He's cute, sexy, and fun. I will say about the absolute titles, we just had Jason Aaron on a little while back to talk about Absolute Superman, and then on our IG, I was like, "Hey guys, what should I be reading?" Because I go to comic book stores kind of intermittently. They're pretty far away, but in all caps. Russell Dodderman, who is a man I absolutely love and respect and can't,
Totally.
he says jump, I say how high. He sends me back a reply in all caps, absolute Wonder Woman. The all
Yeah,
caps thing was not something I was ready for because it felt like why in the world are you not reading Absolute Wonder Woman? So I went and
it's
picked up the
wild.
first two issues and I was like, son of a bitch, he was
Yep.
right.
Yes, he was.
It's
Good.
crazy, and you know what? It's also like obviously the writing is great, and the story is great, and the whole product comes together so cohesively. But I'm not surprised that Daughterman likes it because it's like an artist's comic. Like the way that the visual presentation, especially of the first issue of the origin story, is so. I just stared at it. It is so rereadable.
Yeah.
It took me, 3 times as long as any other comic I read that week.
It
So
was, it was like Kelly Thompson writing Wonder Woman with a giant anime sword. I'm sold. I'm good.
yeah, yeah, we
Um,
did it, folks. We made it.
we did it, everybody.
Everything's going to be okay.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Daniel, thank you so much for stopping by and kind of walking us through Holiday Tales to Astonish, man. This was such a fun comic. Thank you
I'm
for
really glad
writing
you
it.
liked it.
It was so good. Will, you got any
Yeah, and
final
the other
thoughts?
stories are great too. Everybody, please pick it up. You get to see Phil Noto drawing Doctor Doom stealing presents. It's awesome. It's really good.
I wasn't gonna allow myself the time to gush over Phil Noto art. But you're right. I mean, it's a beautiful comic, and Jerry adds a lot of really, really just funny stuff in there. It's fantastic. Will, any final thoughts? Anything we need to do before we wrap up here, man?
Merry Hanukkah, happy Christmas, Ryan and Daniel.
Dana, where can people find you on the internet if they wish to tell you how great this comic was, if they want to know more about it, maybe your Easter egg that you mentioned?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, you know what? That's a great idea. If you think you know what I might be referencing at the end of this story, I don't tell everybody. Don't put it on blast. Tell me. Let other people figure it out on their own.
Yes.
I'm at Daniel.Kibblesmith on Instagram and Kibblesmith.com.
Fantastic. And are there things coming up that people
Yeah.
can be looking for from you?
Yes. This is not my only holiday comic on sale right now. From Dynamite, we have the Powerpuff Girls Holiday Snowdown Showdown.
Okay,
Uh,
son of a bitch. I gotta go read that.
next episode. So that's another holiday comic that looks great rolled up in a stocking. I am the writer of the new Darkwing Duck series with Brandon Stein that starts in February.
Joshua Noel. Joshua Noel, are you
We
listening?
have a friend who's a huge Darkwing Duck fan.
He probably already knows then. And we've got covers, variant covers by the creator of Darkwing Duck, Tad Stone. So
Very cool.
it's on. And then in March, my Rick and Morty story is being collected in the finals week paperback, and I'm not allowed to say why you should read a Rick and Morty story by me to find out if you like them. But if you like this Rick and Morty story by me, that's good news for you.
Wow. There are so many things to like a
Yeah.
Powerpuff Girls Christmas special, Darkwing Duck, Rick and Morty. Needless to
I
say,
watched a lot of cartoons. I watched a lot of
I love
cartoons.
if you like Cartoon Network, you're gonna
Yeah,
love
man.
this.
Yeah,
Oh
so
man, it sounds like you got a lot of fun stuff coming up, man, and we just want to push people in the right direction so they can find all those things. And hopefully someday in the future we can have you back to talk about Loki, man.
I'd
That'd
love
be a
that
lot
because
of
I'm very
fun.
proud of those. Very, very proud of those. And the Loki fans are just the best. They're it's such a wonderful community of people who read this stuff and love this character as much as I do.
Well, everybody, we hope you have a great holiday. We hope you have a great, whatever you're celebrating, Christmas, Hanukkah, however you're celebrating, whoever you're celebrating with. We're going to send you off on your way the way we do every time. We're just going to tell you that no matter what, no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, just remember one thing. That is to stay worthy.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.